real. Let's just be fucking real and just start. Why are we doing this?
To have the conversations that we typically have, things that could sometimes be controversial.
I think that everyone has the story, everyone has perspectives that can help each other.
And I think that we're very lucky to now have this chance in this moment to do this, something that we love.
So I woke him up like around 3, 4 a.m. and I was like, "Are you married?" And he was like, "Yes." And so I'm like, "Why wouldn't you tell me?" And he said like, "I didn't think it was gonna last that long. I thought, I'd be divorced sooner. Obviously I won't just like express details on the reason of the marriage, but he told me that it was nothing and
They
that
were not together.
they were not together.
Separation was undergoing. Okay.
And so at that time I was seeing a life coach, and she mentioned to me like, this is a deal breaker, like you need to leave him. So I left him,
You
and
did.
I had him like leave the apartment that we had together at that
Move
time.
out.
So I lived by myself for a month and a half with my son.
Wow.
And that was really scary for me because I felt that I grew up pretty sheltered and um again with like low self-esteem and low confidence in my own abilities. um
I guess the word would be more like enabled. To
yes.
too much to the
Yes.
point where you didn't feel as confident to be as independent.
Yes. And yeah, after that month and a half, I felt like I really missed him. He was, dropping off flowers at my apartment, sorries, cards, things like that. We were working together, which was making it really hard to.
Oh.
And then I had heard that he had taken this girl hiking. And during that time, I was also I had this guy come and watch me play soccer. And then after that, I had called him crying, telling him that my life coach told me that if I was ready to give him another chance, that I needed to date other guys too. Because she mentioned to me that she felt that there was like codependency in their relationship, and that I couldn't get back with him until this codependency was broken. And the best way to do that was to date several people while dating him. And when I called him crying, he came to my apartment, and then we just picked back up from. I decided to, forgive, and we
have him move back in.
That's when I conceived my second child.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then we continued the relationship.
He moved back in.
He moved back in
immediately within that month, that weekish.
I think within that week. I think, yeah.
Okay, you found out you were pregnant that month.
I think it was a couple weeks that I found out that I was pregnant.
You were 23, 24, 25? Around?
I think I was like, yeah, around 24 maybe, I don't know.
Okay. And finally, you had this child. What happened to the characteristics that you had seen before where you're like, did they change? Did he start saying hi to your other kid?
What I did start noticing was he also had trouble with emotional regulation and temper. So I started questioning like, hey, it's kind of like a repeat of my first baby daddy. Like,
right.
Could there be something in me that is dysfunctional that could be attracting these people in my life? And I started noticing that my relationship with him was very similar to my relationship with my mom and dad. And I started seeing that maybe these are patterns that are passed down, like the dynamic in relationships. And so I remember telling him like, hey, I really feel like our relationship is very similar to my mom and dad, and if there's a way to like break this pattern, I really want to break the pattern.
In what similarities? Where he was dominant?
For example, my mom didn't really have a voice growing up, and I felt like I didn't feel safe enough to speak my truth. My dad was the one in charge. He was the one that had the last say. He was the dominant one with the money. Similar things like that.
Okay. And so you underwent some of those similar things that you had in the past, where there was some verbal abuse, there was aggression, all those kinds of things. Um, you continued on in the relationship though. How did you continue knowing these things were starting to
Well,
get more consistent?
there were opportunities that presented themselves, like for self-development and growth, these programs. One that was in Spanish, a 3 long day program where you got to like face a lot of your trauma, um, and open up and be vulnerable. And I asked him to please do it with me, and he chose to do it with me.
Mm.
And then there was an English program, and I asked him to do that English program with me. And so I was holding on to this hope that these programs and books that I would ask him to read with me would like help him grow,
Hmm.
because I could sense that there was this like desire and this eagerness to grow, spiritually, to evolve. And then that's when psychedelics came into my life. It started with mushrooms, ayahuasca, marijuana. It changed my life.
So, with the intention of continuing with your self development journey and having your partner grow with you to have a relationship where you guys could build and feel good, you opened up this door with the psychedelics, a whole new world that allowed you to kind of achieve a little bit more as far as breakthroughs and knowing yourself a little bit more. Like, tell me what was it that these plants or medicine, however it is that anyone could call it nowadays. What kinds of things did it allow you to tap into?
Well, I feel like it really, really helped me see how everything was happening for me, and how the outer world was a mirror of my inner world. Again, how I felt about myself was um, a reflection of my relationship with this person. And yeah, some other things that it helped a lot with body image too.
Yeah, talking about body image, there was a time in that part of your relationship, maybe right before you really started diving into the medicine, psychedelics, where you became a bikini competitor, which is a very huge thing, physically demanding, mentally demanding, and you chose to pursue that. Tell me a little bit about that because we're discussing relationships, we're discussing body image. How did that come to be, come to fruition?
Yeah, so I remember at that time I was working at a daycare with my second son, who was young. Ever since I had children, it was always natural to me to want to be their main caregiver. And at this daycare, this I was taking care of this young girl, a 3-year-old, who the dad asked me to come train with him. He said that he could train me to become a bikini competitor, and I was like, okay, sure. um you know it is hard to transform your body. It does take a lot of discipline, effort, energy, work, structure. um but um it was easier for me than it is for others, because uh I'm very disciplined and I'm very structured. um they call it the masculine energy. um that the masculine energy in me like operates super high. And again, I think that's the reason why it was hard for dad to be emotionally present, because the masculine energy for him is also very high, always working, always needing something to do, structuring everything a certain way. So going to the gym 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night, watching what you're eating, watching your reps, watching your body transform, it was all like, it was like I felt like I was in the zone. I felt like it was like my world.
It's interesting you mention that because I can see how it can be masculine energy for that achieve, push, ego kind of almost thing. But also, there's the perfectionism aspect of you that wants to achieve, wants to get to a certain point. And let's not forget, with the body image, I guess, mindset that you have had, which is being a certain measurement, a certain level to what, feel desired, feel validated. Were those things also a part of that in your journey of becoming a bikini competitor?
Yes. the validation for sure was like fueling the motivation. Like, oh,
Okay.
I'm getting recognized again,
Mm.
just like when I was starting to throw up. It was kind of interesting how I started getting that validation again. It was like a familiar territory for me again.
It kind of started feeling like that high that you would get from the validation, and it started feeling good, so you kind of continued. But for you, you came to find that it wasn't healthy.
Yes, I it was a very exciting thing at first. I felt like I was building something and I felt like I was climbing the ladder of success when we're talking about beauty um,
Yeah.
for women.
You reached second place at your first competition, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Um,
huge.
I think that I think what did it for me was when I got on stage and I saw the audience and I remember the cheering and my loved ones supporting and how my body looked and what I had accomplished. Um, and then I saw how empty I felt inside, and how weak I felt because I was on protein shakes and baby puffs that day, um, with very minimal water. And when I had that realization, it just kind of hit me that it was bulimia all over again.
Okay, so it was another, in a way, path to the same kind of instance that you were dealing with your body image and trying to achieve a certain goal. You were seeing it was the same unhealthy patterns. You were wanting the same things, which was, validation, whatever it was, but ultimately just to get to really where you were already. So you saw that it wasn't anything you wanted anymore. You kind of broke free from the thought process of wanting to achieve becoming a bikini competitor, and that kind of fell apart for you, in your mind, right? Where you were like, you know what, this isn't as important to me anymore.
Well, I feel that I had this, you could call it epiphany or realization on stage as a bikini competitor because of ayahuasca.
Right,
I
that's when
remember
it came with at the same time.
I
Okay.
remember that I had gone to an ayahuasca ceremony and
Prior to you competing.
prior to competing.
Okay, so you kind of, all right.
And for those of you that don't know, ayahuasca is a plant that does come from Peru. Um, you prepare this plant, you drink it as a tea, you sit with um, facilitators and shamans, and it causes you to face a lot of your trauma. You have a lot of visions and a lot of things. And I remember asking during this time about these body image issues. I remember asking the plant, please help me uncover what is the root of the perfectionism and body image. And um, when I discovered that the bikini competition was just another bulimia again, and I had seen that I had buried bulimia under the rug, that's when I asked the plant, please help me.
But that was after having won your second place in your competition. You said you did ayahuasca once prior to. It didn't show you as much clarity, so you went through the bikini competition experience, and then you did ayahuasca again, got more clarity, and realized that wasn't for you.
Yeah, I did ayahuasca several times, um, but it was ayahuasca and then getting on stage. Um, Even after getting on stage and feeling empty and recognizing how extreme. So what I realized is that um, obviously, like, competing is very extreme. You're very limited with nutrition and you're over exercising and you're really pushing the body. For me, it showed me that that's how I was living my life.
Mm.
Throwing up, even though it was every now and then, it's still obviously not healthy. Um, but what I feel that the plant helped me with, um, it really connected me with the truth that we are beyond this body, that I am more than this body. And so, right after I went through the first competition, and I was on stage, I I was wanting to do a second competition. So I kept training.
Mm.
I got a different coach. Um, and I remember I got that feeling again, like I shared with you about when I was once excited about the club and then I just felt like I didn't belong anymore. That's how it felt with the gym. Once it was super exciting when I was competing, and then one day I go to the gym and I just don't have the energy, and I felt like I didn't belong there. And it's really interesting because I almost saw it like as a vision in my mind. I saw like this door that said freedom, and this like intuition that said if I walked in through that door, nothing would ever be the same. um, and that's when I felt I needed to leave the gym. And I got in the car and I put on this YouTube video where a woman said on this YouTube video, exercise is healthy, um, but for healthy people. And then that's when I began to question, am I not healthy people?
So ultimately, because there are many people who go through these bikini competitions, weightlifting competitions, um, some can say it's not sustainable, but others, say that with the right proper nutrition mindset, all of that it can be. You realized for you it didn't have a place necessarily in your life due to how you operate. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So before we jump into how you transitioned into a whole nother part of your life, I wanted to ask you what at what point did you not throw up anymore? Were you doing it during your bikini competition? How did that play into at all?
I feel like again this was like 7 years ago. So what I remember is that after doing ayahuasca and doing the competition, I never threw up again. I think that there were thoughts of throwing up
I think
when
you had
when I was
mentioned
competing.
And you had mentioned, I think, after having your second child, you thought about it again. Maybe you did it once again. But once you entered the world of bikini competing, that was no longer a thing for you. Your focus was now the bikini competition, and maybe that's what took your, um, I guess, attention. You no
Yeah,
longer had to, like much thought about it.
yeah.
So once that was over, and you entered now a whole new way of being.
After I left the gym, these different things I felt inspired to do. Like after I stopped fitness, I was inspired to not wear makeup. I was inspired to not do my hair for 30 days. I felt inspired to take out my breast implants.
Being natural, having natural hair, no makeup, taking the implants out. Did that feeling come again about, well, if you're not bikini competing, did you ever think about throwing up again?
Oh yeah, all the time. I also felt inspired to shave my hair. Um, I feel like my identity was um, holding on to my hair the biggest thing. Um, for some reason, for other people it could be their breast, but for me it was my hair. Um,
That was the last part. Or,
yeah,
yeah, because
for me it was the last thing that I needed to do to. It felt like it was burning away that old version of me that felt I needed to desperately fit into this box in order to be loved.
they do say that our hair, in some cultures, carry a lot of, I don't know if it's experience or uh, past. So I could kind of see how that transformation could be very freeing and letting a lot go, and changing appearance regardless does shed off layers. So when you finally got to that point, you were all natural. You shaved your hair. Your partner at the time, the baby daddy of the second child, shaved the hair for you. And didn't you have a third child by then at that point
Yes. So it was when I decided that I
with
wasn't.
him?
Yes, when I decided that I wasn't going to compete anymore, we had our third child. Third? No, our second child. My third child.
Yes. And at that point, you were how old? It was like two
Um,
years after or four.
it was 7 years ago. So I think I was 30.
Okay, so entering your 30s, you were now a natural queen, as we can call it. and your partner helped you shave your head, which is a huge thing. I mean, a lot of us women, we do our makeup, we do our hair, all of these things. Your partner was willing to support you through that. That was huge. It seems like he was making breakthroughs, supporting you. It seems like everything was going good, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're saying it right, spot on, because for a partner to shave your hair and then still show you that they love you,
Desire you.
without your hair
Yeah.
was a really big thing for me. It was very meaningful for me, and it was another reason why, another validation of why the relationship was good
Going
for me
well
at the time.
and why you continued. Now, it was going well until it wasn't. Tell me about the next big thing that happened in that relationship with you and him where you were like, oh no, I've got to go.
Yeah, so I began to feel off in the relationship a year and a half before I left. I remember that I would call you every day after work, and I would share with you that something felt off in my relationship with him. Um, I didn't know what, I didn't know why. I just remembered that I felt like I was hiding something, or I felt like there was a secret. Um, I felt like when we kissed, I wanted the kiss to stop before it actually stopped. Um, and we were doing therapy at this time. Um, and because we were doing therapy at this time, and he seemed willing to continue to grow, to hear me, um, I kept holding on to that hope. Um, you know,
Now, just to make sure we're not jumping into the final,
oh yes.
because
So
it seems like we are, but there was one in between.
yes, yes. So
Okay.
there was a time that I had left him.
Why?
Um,
What made you
the
choose
the
that?
the conversation was that we had a snack drawer for the kids. Um, his perspective was that only the younger kids could go in the snack drawer, but the other kids couldn't because he couldn't afford it. And I expressed to him that I felt that it wasn't fair. Um, and his perspective was, if you wanted a say in this, then you need to go get a job.
Oh,
So a
because
lot
you were
of
a stay-at-home mom at the time.
yes, during the time there were comments like, if you're not working, you don't have a say, or if I spent money on anything, it was always like informed. I always informed him, but it wasn't didn't feel like there was, like we were a team when it came to that. Again, it's what I saw growing up, so I just kind of stuck it out. But it just got to a point where I couldn't keep doing the whole snack drawer thing. I felt like I wasn't being a good mom. So I said to him, if we don't find a solution, like I'm not going to go to work right now because the kids are still really small. Um if we can't find a solution, I'm going to have to walk away from the relationship. So,
So it was, would you say, a difference in opinion that you chose to leave the relationship?
um you could say that it was that he had a different opinion as me, but I would say it was more so like immaturity on his end, as well as some narcissism, some like like a power struggle, like him wanting to be in control, maybe.
Okay, so it did come with multiple things. It seemed like it was that specific thing, but as you're saying, it was a lot of little things that came with that, which
Yeah.
is how he handled um, basically that difference of opinion and what he expressed that he would need you to do if it were to change. He didn't meet you in the middle. Yeah, he told you you weren't making the money. So it was a lot of things that started really weighing heavy, where then you decided to, all right, you know what? This isn't for me. And you decided to leave.
Hmm.
Wow. At what age would you say that was that you were decided to leave?
um Gosh, I don't remember how old I was. I just remember that our daughter was probably like 2, maybe, and she's 7 now, so 4, 3, 2, maybe 5 years ago.
Okay. And you decided to leave and move back in with mom and dad.
Yes.
Okay. With your 3 kids now.
Yes.
You left him,
Mm-hmm.
and how long were you apart?
6 months.
6 months.
Yes. We were living apart 6 months, but it was um maybe a week at the most that we were actually broken up. I think I don't know how many weeks, but a couple of weeks into it, we were talking about working things out. I During that time I was asking him if we could please do therapy, um, and he just was completely closed off to that. And during that time, he also we had gone on a hike together with mom and dad or mom, and then he broke his foot. I remember during that time,
Oh, yes.
and I would bring the kids for the kids to see him, and I would bring him food. I would do what I could to take care of him. And so we were talking about how we could come to a solution for both of us to feel heard. And it seemed like he was more willing. And then we did therapy. And so things were moving towards us, towards me moving back in and us um, resolving the issue.
Okay, so you decided to jump back into the relationship.
Yes.
Okay, because you guys were going to come to an agreement.
Yes. We had done therapy, and we were kind of seeing more eye to eye. Um, and so I moved back in.
Did the
Um,
drawer situation change?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were getting the older kids some snacks for them, and then the younger kids were getting snacks for them. Everybody was getting snacks.
Okay, so
So that
it's,
felt good to me as a mom.
yeah, which, some could say, as I mentioned before when I asked you the question, was it just that situation? But it was more. Um, some could say now that you chose your child, your children, all children, if anything, because it was not just yours, it was for him as well, his children.
Hmm.
And that was very important to you. That was your boundary. That was your decision that you made to leave. When you jump back in and you were seeing these steps he was taking, and you were seeing you could get aligned in a lot of the beliefs that you have and he had, what is it that ended up not working out? Because you jumped back in, everything seemed fine. What was happening?
Yeah, so I feel that gradually I was evolving so much. I feel like the plants were helping me evolve so much with my confidence. And then after moving in, I decided to start working. He had opened up his own business at a store. Um, I wanted to help financially. The agreement was that he would watch our daughter at the back of his store while I was working. And so after beginning to work, after being a stay-at-home mom for so long,
For how long?
gosh, I don't know.
Because
It was,
most of the relationship,
yeah, most of the
probably.
relationship, I was a stay-at-home mom. From what I remember, I got pregnant with he's 10 years old now. And so I quit
From there, I think.
from there. But in between that, I worked with that child when he was 2 at daycares and stuff. Worked
Okay.
with, little things, and then I would do mainly stay at home stuff. So when I began working, I felt like the career woman experience began for me, and I started gaining confidence in my abilities, seeing what I was capable of doing.
Right, because you were finding yourself in situations you were being challenged, you hadn't been before, and you had to figure some things out. So that started kind of giving you that level of confidence you hadn't been practicing when you were staying at home, correct?
Well, I mean, before I started staying at home, again, before my second child came, I was faced with challenges. I worked at a call center with my ex partner at the time. It was a mortgage company, and it was very challenging. But you could say that those challenges for me were kind of just like beating me down.
Mm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
the difference between now that I started working afterwards was that uh, at first the challenges felt like they were beating me down, but I was able to rise above them, and I found strength in that.
It seemed that with the evolution that you were undergoing, with everything you've been through, plants, whatever it was, that your mindset was different. you were ready to enter into a different way of being.
Yes, and I remember that when I started working, I was working at Tesla at the time. That was my first job when I started working. I did another ceremony with ayahuasca. And I remember that during that ceremony, I was shown like different images of my family, my children, my partner. And I remember that those images were kind of like breaking. Family was like breaking for me. And I remember crying and I remember purging, not really understanding what was happening. But all I knew is that I was letting go and releasing what looking back now, I feel like it was releasing the old dynamic in the relationship, the old patterns, the old versions of myself.
So finally, as all of these things were happening, about almost a year or so um, throughout, you had these increasing feelings of uneasiness, feeling off throughout that. What's the
Yeah.
time frame from when you left him and you got back together? You were feeling all these things throughout.
Yeah, I think so. I think I started feeling off again like a year and a half before I left, and I left him in 2024.
From the moment that you moved back in with him
Hmm.
and you were trying things and you were evolving and you got your Tesla job, when you were having these feelings of being off, it was throughout that whole time until you finally came to a point. At what time was this at where you're going to start telling this part of the story?
So I think I began to feel off around 2022, you could say, maybe. Um, and again, we were doing therapy, so and I remember sharing with the therapist like I'm feeling off, I don't know what it is, and I was very emotional about it. I shared with my partner at the time that I was feeling off and I didn't know what it was. But he would say that we were going to work through things, we were going to work through it, and that everything was going to be okay.
I remember you sharing this with us as well, me and my mom, and I'd say like she was going crazy. To me, and my thought process was, um, don't be ungrateful. Life is great for you. People would wish to be in your position to have a loving husband who shaved your head and loves you throughout all of that, and you're still desired and is working and this and that, all these things. But little did I know your intuition was screaming at you and you just couldn't hear it yet.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, I think it was definitely screaming at me, but I wasn't ready to see what it was screaming at me for. Um, and so it was in 2024, 2 years ago now, that we were in the kitchen one day, and I needed for him to give me some information on my son being on his insurance because his dad wanted to know about it. And I remember when I asked him, "Hey, did you get this information that I've been needing from you?" He kind of blew up at me at that time and kind of shut me down. I think he was like, "Can't you see that I'm cooking for the kids?" Like, again, he had issues with regulating his emotions and with his temper, and it was something that I was used to. And so I just went to the room and I cried. And it's really sad to think about that. It's just something that I got used to.
Consistently, yeah.
But again, with the therapy we were doing, the programs we had done, the conversations we would have, I was holding on to that hope that he was wanting the growth. And so when I went into the room, I locked the door, and after the whole incident about finding out that he was married and stuff, he had given me the code to his phone. Um, so I was in the room and his phone wasn't there, but the Apple Watch was there. Um,
I'm sorry, rewind. He had given you the code initially years ago, is what you're telling me?
yeah, like the second, was it no, the first time I left.
Okay, the first time you left.
Ever since the first time I left, he gave me the code to his phone.
That wasn't the marriage one.
That was a marriage one. The first time I left was because he was married. The second time I left was because of the snack drawer.
Okay.
So I had the code to his phone.
Okay.
So I never felt like I needed to look through it because I had the code, right? But for some reason, this day, when I locked myself in the door, his Apple Watch was there, and I felt like I needed to look through it. So I started looking through it, and I instantly start seeing that. Let's call him Jacob. Okay, he had a name saved under Jacob on this Apple Watch, and Jacob was saying to him, "I love you so much," just these romantic things. It was like a paragraph, and
a boy's name.
Yes, let's say it was Jacob, a boy's
Wow.
name. Mm-hmm.
Telling him
that he loved him and all these things.
Wow.
So he comes in, He unlocks the door, comes in. It was one of those you could just open with a quarter. And that's when I immediately say to him, "Why is Jacob telling you that he loves you?" And then that's when he says, "I'm sorry, I met someone." And I said, "When? Like, how long ago?" And he said, "It only lasted 3 months. I'm sorry." So I, was felt heat all throughout my body, shocked at that time, in pain. I remember just grabbing our vision board, and I just ripped it up, and I grabbed our picture frames, and I just put him facing down in the kitchen, and I told him that I needed some time to think, and I needed him to leave. He did not leave, and so um, I remember telling, like, the universe, like, God, universe, if you did this, like, if you reveal to me that he was being unfaithful because you want me to end this relationship, I need a bigger sign.
Bigger sign than he was cheating on you for 3 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes people make mistakes, and I felt like, okay, he admitted it to me.
After you found out?
Yes.
Okay.
And so then I think it was the next night, or maybe 2 nights after, um he was sleeping, and I feel like I need to go get his phone. So I get his phone, run downstairs, and I decide to text Jacob. And I said, "Hey." I think all I said was "Hey." Or maybe I said, "Hey, please call me," or something like that. So Jacob calls me, and obviously it is the voice of a woman. Um, I immediately say, um, "It's at woman to woman. It's time for me to know the truth." And she said, "What do you want to know?" And I said, "Is it true that it was only 3 months?" And she said, "No, it's been 4 years." Um, so she had mentioned to me that he was kind of dragging her along, telling her they were going to buy a house together, telling her to start a business so that they can afford this house together. She told me that he mentioned to her that we were just roommates. It was a roommate situation, and that he was
For
gonna
4 years.
leave me. Um, I think that what happened is the second time that I had left because of the snack drawer situation, their relationship began, and when I moved back in, it continued.
He had broken his foot when you were apart. You started taking care of him, and this was going on. And you had no idea before.
Yeah.
Was that enough for you to be like, oh, okay? Or did you need another sign?
It was enough. Um, or so I thought. And then I went to my teenage son's room at the time. He was now 20. And I said to him, "I have my boyfriend's phone. Please help me get into his deleted albums."
This was not the same night, or was it
This was the same night, right
Af-
after I talked to her.
Okay.
And he helped me get into his deleted albums. And that's when I saw videos of them having intercourse at his store.
Where he was supposed to be watching the child, your guys' child. He was supposed to be working. His schedule was different because he worked nights with the truck, but he also worked in his business. And then eventually he had quit his job with the truck, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was solely focusing on that job. And these were the things that were happening
Well,
behind your back.
he quit the tow truck job, and then he got a job somewhere as well as running his store.
And you were also working at the time, but you
Mm-hmm.
were finding ways to take care of the child.
Mm-hmm.
You found all of these things out, and finally it was seeing it with your own eyes in video that really allowed you to say, okay, I am done.
Yeah, I feel like the videos was it for me, for sure.
Because, yeah, well, I mean, when you see it with your own eyes, there's no denying it.
Yeah, I felt like I needed to see that. So that's when I went upstairs, and he was looking for his phone, and I said, "Are you looking for this?" And I said, just so you know, I know everything. I know it's been 4 years. And then I said, tomorrow I'll be contacting a realtor and we'll be selling the house. And I'm just done. So moved back in with parents again.
At that time, your last child, she was 5 years old? 6?
Like when I left?
Yes.
2024. So 2 years ago, she would have been 5, yes.
So he had started that behind your back when it was her first year.
Yeah.
And finally, when you have everything has been revealed, you decide you're no longer going to continue this relationship. You move back in with mom and dad. The 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And were you able to stay away and not fall back in as you have in the past?
Yeah, that's a really good question because I feel like I probably wouldn't have been able to um like continue staying away if it wasn't for family. I'm so grateful for the family, the friends I had at the time, um, that kind of helped me stay strong, helped me um, see that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. Um, at this point, it was another failed attempt at fulfilling the cultural standards of sticking it out as the mom and having a family. Um, but again, family helped out a lot. I still had hope. Like um, and I like hated myself for having hope still. Like that maybe this was it. Maybe me leaving him this time was gonna be what was going to change him into what I needed him in order for me to experience the family that I wanted to experience.
And not just the cultural norms that we have that was kind of having you feel that guilt and shame, but also society as a whole in the human experience is get married, have a family, have it with your husband, have that life. Now knowing that that was completely out of the picture, you were now living back with your parents at 35, 34?
Yeah, 30, 35.
How did you allow yourself to heal and stay away and not fall back in?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I feel like it was being brave enough to just like dive into that grief. Um, I did go to the club a couple times, like me and you clubbed together.
More
Um,
so after, I think that was like what, 7, 8, 9 months?
yeah,
So
yeah,
you took time for you,
I did.
strictly. Okay.
Yeah, I just the the weekends that he would take the kids and I would just stay at my parents' house, I began to question like who am I without this role of being a mother and family and without a person, without like a romantic relationship. And um I felt like that kind of just shook my whole world.
And
Um
flipped it upside down.
and I felt that I felt very deceived by him and therefore really deceived by life. Um and as painful as um it was a very humbling experience because it helped me see that um, I didn't know what was best for me. I thought that sticking it out and holding on to hope with this person was the right thing for me. And it was not. It was not the right thing for me. Um, it was that time frame, it was the distance that allowed me to see how dysfunctional the dynamic in our relationship was. Moments where I was belittled or humiliated in front of his family. Um, Moments where I didn't feel safe enough to speak my truth. Um, Moments where I felt judged or shamed. I thought it was all just part of being in a relationship, because it's a lot of it is what I saw growing up too. So I'm really, really grateful to have had about 10 months. 10 months of, I didn't want to use someone to erase someone else. I had done that in the past.
Because you have been throughout your life, what some would call a lover girl. You were consistently in relationships that we've discussed, kind of back to back, not allowing that space in between. And now, at that time, you finally gave yourself the opportunity to be alone with you and not in a romantic relationship, right?
Yes. Yes. And I think that it was it needed to happen the way that it happened. Um, it's like a phoenix rising from the ashes. It somehow changed me. Um, and the interesting thing about it is that the jobs that I had at the time, um, I began to see like the people that were showing up the same way as my ex partner, um, where I wasn't valued, or I wasn't supported. So as soon as I recognized that in the job that I had, I left. I just quit, and then I got another job, and it felt good at first. Um, Felt like I was building something career wise. I was handed all these roles: document control, project manager, spokesperson, um, and climbing that ladder of career woman
Success, what some
success.
might call.
And then it was revealed to me that I was working for a lot of fake people, and that there were some false promises that were given, and seeing that I wasn't supported um, with what I needed for my family at the time. And more importantly, I began to see that it just didn't feel aligned and authentic to stay at that job anymore. So I quit again. Then I got another job as a teacher at a charter school, and I thought it was going to be the best thing because I was able to take my children all the way from elementary to high school, because it was a elementary, middle school, and a high school. And I quickly got burnt out because I did not receive the support that I needed as a teacher. The communication between administration, teacher, and parents were horrible. Um, and more importantly, my first grader, my first grade daughter, mentioned to me that her music teacher was snapping at the children, throwing books, slamming desks, saying, "I've had enough," where she was crying, not wanting to go to school the next day. I spoke to the principal about this. She said she would talk to her. 2 weeks later passed. She never talked to her. Um, so in that moment, I was done. I quit on the spot. I was heartbroken to leave those children. It felt so amazing to be able to hold a classroom together, just on my own, to be someone to influence the future generation, to connect with little ones, to see that inner child within you connect with them. And then it just shattered. Um, so I've had to choose myself over and over and over since I've left my ex partner, and I thank him um, for being the catalyst, what catapulted me into who I am today, where um, I cannot settle for a life that does not feel aligned anymore, that does not feel true to me anymore.
I think you said it beautifully. I think that we get to be grateful for all of the what might seem like heartache, brutal, heavy things that we've experienced that help shape us into the better versions of ourselves. I think that a lot of what you shared today, it's been heavy, it's been intense. You have lived a life that has had a lot of ups and downs, and you've been able to push through and persevere and become someone that is still very soft. And I'm very proud of you because not everybody can remain with that softness. And so I want to say that you are doing it so well, and you've given yourself grace. And oh gosh, I didn't think I'd get emotional with this. But jumping back, okay, as we are bringing this to a full circle, knowing what you've experienced in your relationships, knowing how the different jobs were allowing you to be more independent, seeing this trend that has been choosing yourself, letting things go, believing in yourself, speaking your truth, remaining in alignment with who you are. Where is body image now? Because towards after the 10 months apart from that last relationship, you know, were experiencing different things with your job. Tell me about the body image issues, what started arising, because then there was a procedure that came into play. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I remember that after I left him, I began to feel that I wanted to get a tummy tuck and a breast lift. And I was like, why am I having these thoughts? Like after taking my implant out,
Right.
shaving my hair, doing all these things, like why am I getting thoughts to have a medical procedure again to try to fit in again? And I I felt that I needed to stop judging my journey and um the way that I was seeing it is, okay, well, if I shaved my hair and took out my implants, I can't do this now.
Right, because then you're reverting.
Exactly. But what I realized is that life is so spontaneous moment to moment. And for me, the surgery of getting that tummy tuck was interestingly enough, it was like an empowering thing.
It was so much more.
Because when I wouldn't have gotten that surgery if I would have been with my ex partner. I don't think he would have allowed that.
Monetary issues, but also the controlling in different ways. And it was just a different stage in your life where, yeah, you felt like you wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah, so I feel like it, as weird as it
Sounds.
sounds, I felt like it was another step in like taking my power back,
Right.
because it was a really big decision. Like it was the biggest decision I've made with like
On your
money on
own.
my own.
Right.
I mean, the first decision I made after leaving him on my own when it came to body image was dyeing my hair. That was like a really big. I put some, highlights in my hair, but yeah, I ended up. It was going back and forth with like, should I do the surgery? Should I not? Like, I don't want to be a hypocrite, and then I just kind of let go. And I'm like, you know what? If it's meant to happen, like I'm just gonna trust that it'll happen. And so, um, I got the medical procedure, and my sister took care of me the first 2 weeks. Um, I, I felt that it was part of my journey. Looking back, I don't know if I would ever get a tummy tuck ever again. I highly probably do not recommend it. Um, but yeah, and then I during the time that I got my procedure, I think
Your procedure of your tummy tuck with.
the breast lift.
Right,
So
because
yeah,
she had a mommy makeover. That, yeah.
I had the option. I could have gotten implants back in,
Right.
but there has been so much talk on how it's possible that a lot of women have gotten sick from putting in breast implants. And so um I feel that my uh priorities have changed. I feel that well-being is more important uh than beauty standards. And I feel that uh we can create our own beauty. And I think it's so important to not judge each other as women for choosing a medical procedure or not. Because again, it's all such a very unique and individual experience for everyone. I'm only sharing what my journey has been, and in no way am I saying that you shouldn't have breast implants in, because they served me during the time that I had them in, and now I just don't feel like it's my journey anymore to have implants. However, you did say, where are you at with your body image?
Right.
I do want to share that um, the thoughts about looking a certain way have not stopped. I still have those thoughts every day when my gray hairs come in. Um, the most insecure, uh the most thing I feel insecure about with my body image, I would probably say, is my ass or my bum. Sorry if YouTube like penalizes that, because it has cellulite, and but what the difference between now and then is that now I can look at my butt full of cellulite on the mirror, and I can laugh at the thoughts. I can see that it's just coming from what I've been taught is beauty. And if anything, I actually do practices where I purposely look at the things that I feel most insecure about in my body, and I give it give it grace and give it love.
Beautifully said. So, basically, finishing up your story, leading up to your body image now and expressing where you're at with it, you were about to undergo procedure when you met the love of your life, is what I understand. It was literally like the week of or something like that. Um, yeah, tell me about that.
Okay, so I told myself that I would never use a dating app. I always thought it was like just not for me.
I know you
Um,
judged me.
I did. I'm so sorry. And I felt that after 10 months, I didn't know if I was ready 100%. Um, but what I did know is that uh, a body has needs,
Yeah.
women have needs. So at some point, that urge will get strong. And so I decided to just honor that urge. And I asked my sister to help me get on Bumble. And it was very overwhelming for me. Um, I felt that it was a virtual world where you pretty much were speed dating people, and it was very time consuming, taking me out of my present life with my kids. And so I was not enjoying it at all, having to have these conversations with so many different people going on at once. Um, and then I finally met the love of my life, John.
Which we will definitely get into in another episode. But basically, you had opened the door for someone after really thinking for a while you were not going to.
Yeah.
After having your world turn upside down, I know your thought process or your mindset was, well, I don't even really want to climb up the corporate ladder. I don't even want to have to, fulfill this idea of the human norms of, okay, well, I need to find this man. You don't need a man for happiness, all this kind of stuff. But the door just opened and you went in after having gotten your procedure. And I mean, maybe we need to leave it for the next,
What
I
I
don't know.
no,
What do you want to leave us
what
with?
I do want to say is that he was so engaging on this app. Like I felt so heard. I felt like he was so interested in me. It wasn't like the short answers. There were never like um he just checked all the boxes.
It was a lot of communication, even after you get your procedure and you couldn't meet him. You didn't meet him for about a month.
Yeah, we were forced to just text
And
for
FaceTime. You
and
finally started
FaceTime,
FaceTiming
FaceTime
too.
for a month
So
and a half because I was recovering from my procedure. And it worked out so perfectly because it allowed us to really build that emotional connection, and it allowed me to really get to know him before getting physical. To anyone that has ever gone through something similar as far as hard times with relationships and them ending that way, and maybe not being able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, um, I want you to know that even before meeting John, um, I saw the light at the end of the tunnel because I was okay with me. I was good with me. Um, and I began to fall in love with all of the different parts of me and my own solitude, and seeing like what I was capable of without a romantic partner next to me, and it was so empowering. So for anyone that is there right now where you're not with someone, and you did go through a heartbreak, um, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it starts with you. And when you find that love for you, the universe will come and bring someone to reflect that that love that you're ready to have. Sorry, go on.
No, it's great. You shared with us with finalizing, we talked about three big topics today, which was body image. You shared with us your story, how you feel now. You've shared with us your relationships, where you started, how you feel now. I want to know, as far as your career woman mindset, you told us how you started. Where are you at now?
Such a good question. As I've mentioned to you before, it there is that program of what success looks like to women, especially these days where women can actually work, and build something for herself. Um, I it, it's gonna sound really depressing, but I'm just gonna say it because it's what's true for me right now. Um, I don't really feel like I want to give effort to accomplishing much uh, as a career, uh, being a woman, because I don't know. I just feel, and I'm not saying that it's like that is bad. It's like goals are not bad, and obviously wanting to become smarter and more skillful and great at different things is a great thing. It's seeing what you're capable of is a great thing. But because I experienced seeing what I was capable of with my body, seeing what it was capable in my career, and having those things shatter for me, um, I'm kind of, for me, like just I'm recreating what my own success is. And for me, my success is feeling true and aligned with life. And what feels true and aligned with my life right now is no longer pushing. I push so hard with my body. I push so hard with careers, trying to prove that I could be smart, that I could be that corporate successful woman. Um, so now I'm just kind of letting myself rest from all of that. I'm letting myself rest from this obsession of like finding a purpose or finding that thing that's going to help me make money and help me be super passionate. Um, I still feel that I want to um, do things that bring me joy and do things that I am passionate about. Like this is so effortless. This feels organic. It feels natural. It feels, I could do this for hours and this doesn't feel like I'm working, you know? So, um, so basically what I'm saying is that where I am right now in my career woman life is I am staying home and
Because you're living with the love of your life who has kids as well. It's a
yes,
lot on your plate.
it is a lot on my plate. And the most beautiful thing about it is that I have a partner that is so supportive. He tells me just follow your heart and do what feels good to you. Um, I'm grateful that he can financially provide for us right now. And so, what feels most true to me right now is staying home and being as emotionally present as I can be to help raise these children. Because raising a blended family does come with its challenges, and um, I'm just grateful that I can do that now, and I'm grateful that we can do this when for however long it gets to happen. And I'm just leaning into trusting the unknown. I used to be, I still have those thoughts that say, Gabby, like you need to do something. You have a partner that's helping provide. Like you need to go to school or you need to find something like just in case to have as a backup. Like what if he dies or something one day? Like all these thoughts, right? Um, but I'm just leaning into trusting the unknown, trusting the spontaneity of life, and trusting that whatever is meant for me will come when at the perfect time. And right now, it looks like podcasting with my best friend slash sister and being the best mom that I can be, and being at peace.
I love it.
And one last thing that I do want to say to people like the ex partner that I had is, again, I now look back to seeing that it was you playing the perfect role for my evolution. And so, as painful as it was, and I'm not condoning or justifying any type of verbal abuse or, you know, crossing boundaries or being unfaithful in relationships. But what I do want to say is that it all helped me become the woman that I am today. And all that I wish is for him to find his own inner peace so that he can be the best dad for our children.
Beautifully said. I want to thank you guys for tuning in on this episode, and tune in on the next one.
Yeah.
We'll have some more great stories in store. Appreciate you guys' time, and I think that's all I have.
I think that's it.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah.